About 15, maybe 20 years ago, I got interested in the idea of utilizing fine leaf fescues for minimal maintenance areas. And one of the first things we had to do was to assess the different species for their suitability for these sites. And after about 5 or 6 years of research, we pretty much narrowed it down to the use of hard fescues and sheep fescues. The creeping red fescue and the chewing fescues just did not produce the quality that we thought would be required, even in minimal maintenance sites. And over the years, the idea of taking large grassy areas, whether it be on a golf course or say in a park, that really aren't being utilized that much, yet still require being turf for a multitude of reasons, usually sediment control. We got into the concept of why not take a look at these hardened sheep fescues in situations where they won't require very much in the way of inputs of pesticides and fertilizers. So over the course of time, we found that we could establish these hardened sheep fescues with basically a single application of fertilizer at the time of seeding in the autumn, then coming back in the spring and eliminating the weeds and perhaps mowing only once or twice a year. These particular plots here were established about 2 years ago. Again, only fertilizer we used was at the time of seeding, and they've been mowed about 2 times per year since that time. And what you can see is a really dense, good cover, despite the fact that during most of June and early July we had a terrific period of heat and drought stress and a lot of heat, actually since April until today. So these do withstand a tremendous amount of environmental stress, while at the same time maintaining good cover, good visual quality with minimal inputs. I'd also like to mention that they have not received any additional irrigation in 2 years, and they have not, other than initially, received any additional fertilizer or weed control in 2 years. And over the course of time, we'll see some weeds developing in these particular fine fescues, and they can be easily removed with someone with a backpack sprayer in small areas anyway, where they can just go in and spot apply the individual weeds without having to blanket the entire area with a herbicide. Again, no other pest control considerations have been necessary. Diseases are usually a minimal concern with the hard fescue and the sheep fescue, and the same is true with insect pests. We just haven't, over the course of time, seen either diseases or insect pests become a significant problem with these grasses. We learned from the very first summer that they just were not going to tolerate any kind of traffic, and this goes for mowing as well. So over the course of time and working with these grasses, we've known to leave them alone in the summertime. So if this type of height of cut is not suitable for your situation, then these hardened sheep fescues should not be utilized. We typically mow these, again, twice a year, late in the autumn, usually in the November, December time frame, normally to a height of about 5 to 6 inches. They go through the winter, and in the springtime they eventually produce seed heads, which are quite aesthetic to the eye, or at least for most of us. And once these seed heads have become brown or necrotic and basically the seed have shattered, we then do our second mowing, which is typically in the mid to latter part of June. Again, we're just going to mow these off at about a height of 5 to 6 inches.